The NASCAR Cup Series heads to Watkins Glen this weekend with 2 races left in the regular season. I feel like a broken record, but we have to talk Chase Elliott and his chances this weekend, knowing what a good road course racer he is. So let's start with you, Kyle. Chase's chances this weekend at Watkins Glen.
I think his chances are great at this place. And we heard it at Indy that really they looked at Indy and at Watkins Glen, especially he got his first win there, man. He is one of the top 2 or 3 cars there almost every week. And I know that this car is a different car, and he's not had the success in this car, in the next gen car that he had in the older car. But that doesn't mean he forgot how to drive a road course. And that doesn't mean that this road course doesn't fit right in his wheelhouse. So I have to look at Chase Elliott going into this race, even with the dismal season that he's had, with the injuries, with being out, with the suspension, with everything that's happened to him. It's kind of like taking, Jimmy Johnson to Charlotte or Jimmy Johnson to Dover, and some of these guys that just latch onto a track. This is his place.
Well, that's Kyle's version, but let me give you the inner Kyle Petty version of to that question. And here's what I'd say in looking at Chase or anybody else in terms of who might be a favorite this weekend at Watkins Glen is I'm not going to pick one until I see what qualifying's like on Saturday. And you look at how important qualifying has been at the road courses this year, and you look at what happened in Indianapolis. The top 4 qualifiers all finished in the top 4. Was 8 of the top 10 qualifiers finished in the top 10. You go to Sonoma, and you had 6 top 10 qualifiers finish in the top 10. Could have been 8 had Denny Hamlin not wrecked and Tyler Reddick not had issues, and they started on the front row. So yes, I hear what one side of Kyle Petty is saying, but the inner Kyle Petty also is probably going to say that, look, let's see what happens in terms of qualifying and go from there. And quite frankly, look, I would take the top 5 starters, and I'd give anybody the rest of the field, because I think that's how important it is going to be to start and qualifying. And look, with the way these races have gone, especially the road courses without the stage breaks now, we saw how much it went green at Indianapolis. We saw how much it went green at Sonoma, that there is the potential this race naturally playing out. The field gets spread out a little bit. You can have a mistake on pit road like Daniel Suarez did at Indianapolis and still finish third because there's a bit of a gap. So I'm looking at what happens in qualifying before I really determine who my favorites are. And now I've gotten out of my inner Kyle Petty.
That is a good point. But Chase this year has not been a great qualifier. He's admitted to that as well. But the last 2 weekends, for whatever reason, they've been able to pick up their game. So I agree with you. We'll have to see where everybody qualifies. But let's look at the broader picture when it comes to Watkins Glen and Hendrick Motorsports, because we talk about how good Chase is on road courses. He's won there multiple times. But the last 2 seasons, it's been his teammate Kyle Larson in victory lane. And last year, it got a little bit dicey between Larson and Elliott. So with close quarters on a road course and the aggressive racing we see, how will Chase's teammates race him this year? And to think about the fact that Alex Bowman also looking for a race win to get a playoff berth. Kyle?
Yeah. That's a great point. I think, we saw Chase and those guys go at it last year. I think Chase, I think Alex Bowman, I think AJ Allmendinger. I mean, we can throw a lot of people into this mix. They're going to have to up their aggression if they want to make the playoffs. If this is the race that they have circled, if this is the race that they believe and they have a shot at it, they're going to have to go over the top aggressive. And that's just me. That's what I believe, because you've got one shot at it, one shot left, because we all know Daytona is a wild card, is a true wild card. So I think you've got to put yourself in that position to run up front. Listen, if you're running 5th or 6th, you just take what you got and you go home. You're beat already. But if you're in a position to run like Larson and Chase did last year, if you're in a position to see what we've seen with Keselowski and Busch and and Logano and Marcus Ambrose, those guys, if you're in that position, we're going to see a great last 2 or 3 laps. If Chase or one of the Hendrick guys, even Bowman, if one of those guys have a shot at winning this race and moving on, it's going to be a great last few laps.
I think you race with respect, but I don't think you lay over. Like if Kyle and I are teammates and I'm in a playoff position, and Kyle needs to get in, I'm not going to lay over and let him in, because I've still got to, I'm still trying to win for my team, my sponsors. I'm still trying to get as many playoff points, because what do we always hear in the playoffs? Every point matters. So if I start giving up points in the regular season to my teammate to help them along, are they going to give it back to me in the playoffs? No. So look, I know it becomes a little bit challenging maybe in those Monday meetings, sitting across from them and saying, hey, why didn't you give me that break? It's like, look, we've got the same equipment. Be better than me. Don't just be even with me. Be better than me, because if you can't be better than me, you're not getting my spot. And I'm not going to help you so much that it hurts me. And I think that's how the Hendrick drivers have to look at it.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree with that, because I don't think that Chase Elliott, that Alex Bowman, that anybody that's on that bubble can go in and race with any respect at all. They got to disrespect everybody. We saw it at Phoenix. You used to see it where you just use somebody up. We saw Newman make the playoffs, just using people up. You've got to use people up. I'm sorry. I do agree that Kyle Larson can't just pull over and let his teammate go. I do agree that William Byron can't just pull over and let his teammate go. But when they see that 9 or that 48 coming, if it's in a win position, they better get ready to get the horn, because they're getting moved out of the way, and it's not going to be respectful.
And if that's the case, then I just give it back to them.
It's tough to give it back to them from the tire barrier. It's just tough, and that's what I'm saying.
You better put me in the tire barrier, because I'm coming at you.
And that's my point. That's my point, Dustin. You've got to take care of it when you get to it. If there's 4 or 5 laps to go, you got to take care of it. You can't allow that guy back on the racetrack. I'm sorry. And we've seen that this year. We've seen it. It seems to be the nature of where Cup racing is. So there's no need to tiptoe around it. It's going to happen if you're in that position. If you can get close enough and you're Chase or you're William or Alex Bowman and you don't do it, shame on you, because we've seen it done.
All right. Well, sounds like it's shaping up to be a weekend full of disrespect and drama. Tune in for all the action from Watkins Glen Sunday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern on USA. Thanks for watching NASCAR America Motormouths, presented by Toyota.
Hi, I'm Parker Kligerman. For more access like this from Pit Road, be sure to click and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel.